the beginning, I would say that I just didn't feel like I could afford it, to be honest. It was, I was one of those classic people that probably it was all about price and not about value. And now I'm the opposite, so that's good. And, you know, I'd heard about it and I thought it sounded really good. And I was probably at, you know, I'd just switched accountants and had a very, very nasty looking tax return done and knew I'd made a few, business, you know, I will call them errors, but, you know, now I see they're learning curves. So, so I guess it was really more that I thought I really need to do this, but I have to fix it a little bit first before I can do it. I think that was probably my mindset, is that I can't just jump into something like this without actually, you know, figuring out a little bit what's wrong. And I think that was, I'm glad I didn't do that, because it was the program that helped me figure out what was wrong or just what I hadn't done, you know. And like everybody, I think you concentrate so much on being a vet, and then I'm a mum, and then, you know, so I've got the family and, you know, I'm the business owner and I've got 10 staff. And I try to run around and, you know, I was a servant to my clients, you know, I classically was. I was, don't worry, I'll do it myself. I couldn't delegate anything. I did it all. So, and in the end, I don't think I did any of it very well, just because I didn't give it the time or the effort that it deserved, or take a step back and have a look at it properly. And it probably was Suzanne that convinced me, I would say, to do the program. And it was just at morning tea at the conference, and I said, I really need something like this. And she said, I've been doing this for a while, and she said, I can tell you're a person that's ready to change. And I guess it was just somebody saying that to me, because I felt like that. But, you know, it's that, yes, you know, you feel like you want to take the leap and you've decided that you really should, but until you actually do it, you just, you know, like what does Steve Jobs say? Actions without ideas aren't ideas. They're just, well, ideas without actions aren't ideas, they're regrets, or something like that. So, yes, yeah. So that's what I did, and I would have to say, you know, it's been really good. And for me, particularly, I just had no business skills. Like, I just didn't ever really test or measure or look. I mean, it was ticking along okay. And then, you know, a few things happened and we bought some new equipment, and veterinary equipment's very expensive. And I really just looked at my cash flow as such, and not in terms of what I would actually have to make in extra income to, you know, and that did put us in a bit of a bind. Yes. So, yeah. And I guess it was all of those sort of combinations of things. And I mean, you know, we weren't ever in dire straits, but it was just when I sort of would get home and be exhausted and tired and look at things and say, I've been doing this for 10 years, it's got to be better than this. And yeah, so I guess
and
that's
how do
what
you
made
feel
me
now
start.
differently? You know, you're going home exhausted, saying it's got to be better than this. A couple of things I'm guessing here. One is that there are a lot of things happening in your practice that you didn't realise were happening, and even with your team being, you know, loyal and everything else, they don't see things that actually opportunities are being missed. So obviously there was a realisation and a revelation there, but also I would say, how's it changed your feeling about yourself, about being at home and being in control of things?
That's the key word, control. You got the control back. And it's really funny, like now, if I have a day that goes a little bit haywire, I really don't like it at all, whereas previously that was the norm. Whereas if I have a day now where I don't feel like I'm in control, like, you know, I have to, you know, reboot and fix something because I don't like it anymore. And I do feel like I've, you know, activated or empowered my team a little bit. And, well, maybe more than a little bit, you know, quite a bit. But the thing that I find that probably is the beauty of this program as much as anything is that it's timeless, really. Like I sort of was reading up on some things just the other day, and I'd read them, 6 months, 12 months ago, and I read them again now and go, oh yeah, that's right. Yep. Got to. It's just that whole, you've got it forever, and it's like it's just. I don't think it can, I mean, I'm sure business things will change, but the way it's produced, it just doesn't go out of date, I don't think.
It's interesting you should say that, Kirsty, because the whole thing is built around human nature. And as one of my mentors used to say, human nature is immutable. It never changes from century to century. Things change, but human nature essentially doesn't change. And everything in the program is built around how do we add value to the client? How do we make our team feel good? How do we empower them? And all of those things are just built in. So that's what you're expressing there, I would say. Do you think?
Yes, definitely. And the other thing I think too is that they really need reminding, and that's what gets to the crunch, is that whole implementation and revisiting, and even with me, like, I'm probably, put my hand up, I'm the worst at that's a great idea, let's do that. Yes. And then
what do they call these days? The new bright shiny thing, don't they?
Yeah, that's it, something like that. And but just developing the systems and doing all those things, and and now it's a bit of a catch cry at our clinic, is that write that down, somebody write that down, write that down and put it in the folder. We have a folder.
Observation, that is. So in terms of you are measuring, I know with Suzanne, you've been she's had you measuring things. Have you seen what sort of key performance changes have you seen? Can you put your finger on some of the numbers for us? Percentages or values?
In terms of look, it's probably still in a real growth phase. The dental program is something that we've really it's been one of those things that I really had to get my head around it as well, and learn. I guess just as a little aside, I'm actually really a large animal vet. So I think the biggest issue with my clinic was that I wasn't really ever actually in the building much. It's a mixed practice. So it's not a small animal practice, it's a mixed practice, but I did sort of 90% horses. So I was always out and about doing things and on the phone all the time, and, but since I actually had surgery on my back a few months ago, I've been back in the clinic, and it's amazing, just the presence and what you see that you don't actually see when you're out on the road. So, I would say to people that's something that's a really good tip, that you either need eyes and ears in the place or you need to be there, fairly regularly yourself. But back to numbers. So the dental program, I think, is something that probably over the last couple of months we've probably increased, not hugely, by about a third, I'd say, on what we did previously, but we've only really just, we've been on the program for a while, and we just didn't have that, we probably just didn't have it refined enough, and I actually think we were trying too hard. We weren't educating the clients enough, or in a way, and, I said to Suzanne the other day, you've got to help me with this. I said, I have this issue with clients saying, I'll just have to ask my husband if we can, go ahead and book that in, because we're trying really hard to just rebook from the consult room. I'll just have to ask my husband. I said, we're a team of girls and we're all very independent girls. So, of course, we were all going, oh, imagine being like that we're going to have to ask someone if we can spend money. But her take on it really was more interesting, in that, or maybe you're over-educating them, or they can't actually see the value in it there and then. So we did take a step back and simplified it a little bit, and it has actually, helped. Like, I think for May, I had a quick look yesterday, our dentals have gone up even again. So that's really good. In terms of our actual profit, though, we started the program at the end of the financial year 2013. So our 2014 profit had increased by, I think, $80,000.
Very nice.
So
very nice.
So that was pretty good, and I think we were on track pretty well to have a, even that or better again this year. So, yeah.
As I said before, that gives you a lot of ability, doesn't it? When you've got that confidence that you've got that extra profit coming in, you can do a lot of things with that. You can enhance your practice, you can train your team more, you can bring in new equipment, or you can go and have a holiday, or all the above.
Yes, and I mean that as much as anything, and it's funny because you can, and it gives you a little bit of, I guess, leverage, or for me it was just improving the cash flow. Just actually, looking at the bank balance and going, oh, look at that, there's no brackets around the numbers.
I love that.
So yeah, I mean, and of course that comes and goes, but for our big busy months at the end of last year, I kept thinking I mustn't have paid somebody. I just kept thinking there's got to be some more bills here that I haven't paid, because I've never had this much money sitting in my bank account. So I mean, which was good, because I did, when I got injured earlier this year, so it was actually great, because as much as I got a bit down in the dumps that we slid a bit when I got injured, I've had such a great start to the year that I was never in any strife, because the money was there. So in that respect, it's been really good, and probably the thing that I do really like is just being able to revisit it all the time. So I think I've only really scratched the surface of it, to be honest. I mean, I've had it for 12 months, and I probably was a little guilty of overwhelming everybody with my enthusiasm for it. So then I took a step back and thought, right, well, I'll just do, one thing and, keep trying to implement that and go forward. And, it's just such a good training tool to have, and to be able to bounce things off Suzanne is, yeah, she's amazing. That's really good.
Yeah, tell
really
us
helpful.
about your experience with Suzanne, because one of the things that sets this program apart, Kirsty, I know, is that there's programs and programs, and everyone can go to a library and buy, or a shop and buy a book, but that's not bringing it to life. One of the things that we're really thrilled about with the program is that you get all the tools, but then with Suzanne's input, she keeps you on track, and she helps you to implement and helps you to cover some of those stumbling blocks. Tell us about your experience with that coaching.
Yeah, well, it's been amazing, and I think I would have fallen down with it without her. Like, I would have said, oh, look at these beautiful shiny packets that I've got, and I would have read them and watched the videos a few times and done things, and then gone, oh, okay, yep. But the way that she sets out her forms, and how you sort of go through things step by step. And the biggest one I love is, we talk more about the stumbling blocks than the achievements. You can tick them off fairly quickly and go, well, yes, we've done this, but I am stumped here, or I can't get this over the line. And and like I mentioned previously about the little, the little issues with getting things through to clients. And it was just funny, because we were sitting at lunch one day. It happened to be a little quiet, and so we decided to have a chat about different, little ad-lib meeting, I guess it was. And all of the 4 vets said, same here, when I said, I've had 2 people this week say, I'll just have to ask my husband if I can pay for this. and I got me too. And I went, right, that's weird. And it happened that I was having a call with Suzanne the next morning. So I said to her, what do you think? And it was great, because I said to them, right, we need to simplify this a little bit. I said, they're obviously not seeing the value in, I think, and what we were trying to get over the line is under $200, so it's not huge money. It's not the $1,500 surgery or anything like that. So I guess that's why we were a little stumped about it. But it's just the little tips and tricks and things, and you can hear her thinking down the right, how can I fix this? It's just great.
But as well as that, just to have that facility, as you said before, someone to keep your feet to the fire, if I can put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely, because I and anybody, and you have days where it gets busy, so then the times your aim is, or my aim is, to have it that you've got everything so I guess ingrained that even on the busiest, worst day when everything goes wrong, you can still get through with your systems in place. No, I mean, we're all human, so that falls down, and I think we've still got a bit of a way to go too, in that as soon as it does go a little pear-shaped, you do have the tendency to fall back into, that'll do, just to get through. But I'm really, that's one of my goals, is to knock that off, to say that if you've got it in place and it's in your head and you know exactly what you have to do, then and I find, for me, the best way to do that, because I've got a bit more time now, is to just a bit one-on-one with my vets. And it's fine to have a meeting, and I mean, we never even had meetings, Chris. We never even had a staff meeting. Now we have meetings in the hallway, and meetings are it's just, but I mean, not too many either. Like I think we sort of have we have the nurses have their sort of thing that they like to do, and the vets, we sort of get together a bit informally, and then we all come together and see what everyone's up to, and it and we probably have less meetings now than we did at the beginning, because we need them as much, but they're just, everybody's just talking more. Like it used to be a team of individuals that just all worked in the same place. Everyone had their own way of doing things, and whereas now there's, they can still have their own way and their freedom, but there's some must-haves and must-dos, and that's what we try to do. And I mean, I never would have had any of that because I didn't know it.
Tell me about have you seen the team more energized and more focused and more coherent?
Definitely, they definitely talk to one another more, and they are, and even when we have somebody new come in, like we've had 2 new staff members in the last month, and we've got the folder now full of all of our estimates, and a lot of our estimates are on our veterinary software program. So we'll run through things with people, and whereas previously, I mean, it's embarrassing to say it, but we would just say, just ask one of the girls and they'll show you how to bill, but yeah, premise, yeah, absolutely. and I'd sort of say in passing, you better just check that the bill's okay, because, I haven't had a chance to sit down with them and, just... How
much money went out the door in good faith during that time?
Yeah, a lot. It's just, it's the thing is, one of my university lecturers, and that's the thing with the program, as much as everything, is that, mistakes are made for not looking rather than not knowing. And that's exactly where where my issues were with everything, is that I just didn't look. I'd look at one figure or 2 figures and go, that's okay. But I never delved any deeper. Whereas now I have this list of KPIs and bits and pieces that I look at, and and I still think that I could tweak this and we could do this, and it just keeps the mind just starts in a whole different way now, and it's not about, I mean, in a way, in the beginning, I was one of those people that thought, I can't rob these people to make more money. Whereas now I think, and the best thing about doing this, and I would say to people don't like employing new graduates. I love employing new graduates because they want to test for everything, you know. And I mean, and it's not wrong to do so. So, you know, they want to try and find out what's going on. And, you know, I find younger vets particularly, they love this program because it empowers them to it's okay to try and, you know, offer all of this. Whereas as older vets, we get into bad habits of, oh, yeah, I know what that is, you know. And it probably is, but it might not be either. So, so I guess it's that best practice is the thing that really probably, that I've come to believe in again. Like, I'm not sure that I ever really, you know, would say that I didn't believe it, but I certainly perhaps wasn't acting it.
But it's the fact of life, isn't it? When we get so busy in the day, you tend to let things slide but if you've got performance standards there, that's the way we do it around here, they don't slide. That's the difference, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, that's definitely the difference. And that's probably exactly what I was getting to earlier in terms of, you know, that busy day, you want those standards to still be adhered to,
yes.
You know. And, you know, I would say that we're probably not entirely there yet, but, you know, that's certainly one of my big goals is that, you know, on the worst day imaginable, everything still happens how it should, instead of the, you know, the patch up at 5 o'clock on a Friday night because, you know, of whatever reason. So, yeah.
That's terrific.
And, you know, they're the ones that certainly can come back to haunt you. And I guess that's it, being a business owner and having the worry of all of those, you know, I guess the worry of the, you know, the liability involved in everything as well. I mean, if you take on something like this, you know, you cover yourself automatically because your whole aim is to perform best practice.
Yes.
So you don't, it's a, you know, it's a two-edged sword, really.
Tell me about your clients. Have they felt the new energy in your practice, and what impact has it had on the clients?
I would say some, definitely. We're in our small animal clients, we're in a very sort of rural fringe, so we do have that animals as a business persona to get across the line as well. So, I mean, but in terms of our sort of, you know, good small animal and equine clients, you know, they don't balk. And the biggest issue I probably had with my staff, and it is staff, not clients. Like, I can remember one of your videos, and I can remember, Chris, hand on heart, thinking, oh, well, you should come and stand here in front of them and tell them this is how much it's going to cost. But then I changed a few things with our pricing, I must admit, to just automatically include a couple of extra things. So I took that away from the vets to say, you know, we really should do this, and to try to convince them to get over the line. I just sat them down and I said, well, you know, aged dogs and any colicking horse needs to have this added to its consultation. So I'm just going to, you know, does everybody agree with that? And they said, yes, we do. And I said, fine. I said, now it's there. It's a no-brainer. You don't even have to discuss it as such because it is best practice. And we just say, for this procedure here, because, you know, this is what's wrong, or this is the age of your animal, we include this because, you know, we're not prepared to compromise. So this is what it is. And I found that to be, my staff loved it because they didn't have to sell it as such. But it was really funny because it was incorporated in a price that we'd set together. They didn't actually realise they were selling it. They just didn't have to add it on. But they were still educating the client and doing it really well. And I think they were actually doing it better because they didn't then have to get it over the line.
And they can be proud of the fact that it's an ethical approach, isn't it? It's not as if you're ripping people off. It's purely just good practice and it's ethical.
Absolutely. And it's really funny because I had a discussion with a friend, like a family friend, who had told me about, a vet clinic that they'd taken, their dog to, and this is what it cost, and how, the big whinge, how terrible. And I said, oh, how much was it? Anyway, and I sat down with a piece of paper with her and said, and I just roughed out, and I think my costs were very similar. And she went, oh. And I said, well, entailed in this procedure, I said, you've probably got 3 to 4 staff involved in it at any one time. I said, it's an old dog. I said, this is why we do this, this and this. Bloods, fluids, everything like that. I said, how is your dog? Oh, it's fantastic. I said, there you go. I said, you could have done, and I crossed off all the extras. I said, you could have done that and got away with it. I said, but your dog wouldn't have been very well for a few days.
That's a beautiful articulation of what the program's all about in terms of educating their clients, because one of my favourite sayings is people don't know that they don't know. They don't even know that they don't know. And your purpose is to educate them that they don't know, and then they go, aha, like your friend, I didn't realise that before. And that's where a lot of vets go wrong. Because they're not educating people to that value, people think, oh, it's expensive. But as the truth is that they think you're expensive anyway, so why not educate them to what goes into it and then charge ethically what you should?
That's exactly right. And that's probably the number one thing that I've really got out of it is the educating them. And I say to my, guys, I said, we do speak English in here, but it is a whole different language. Remember that. This terminology, and I said, you lose them. I said, you lose them in the process. I said,
they might be nodding, but inside they're all, glazed over.
Yeah. They're nodding, going, I have to ask my husband because I don't understand.
Wonderful. You are the most articulate person, and with your enthusiasm injected into it, thank you so much for sharing what you've shared. Really, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Fantastic. I'm just so excited for you, and to see that beaming smile, it's just fantastic to know we might have been a little part of that.
Oh, huge part. Huge. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Really good.
Thank you for your time, Kirsty. You're a gem.
Okay. See you later.
Bye for now. Thank you. Bye.